Okay guys, so today is going to be lesson 9.5, but this time we are going to be dividing rational expressions, whereas on Friday we were multiplying them. So this is going to be part 2 of Friday's lesson. So with that being said, we are going to go ahead and go into dividing rational expressions. I gave you right here a little snippet of what's going to happen when dividing rational expressions. So the key part here when dividing rational expressions is that we have a division, but we're not actually going to be dividing. We're going to turn this division into multiplication. Okay, so how do you do division problems for this? You're going to go ahead and you're going to convert them to multiplication. By the way that you do that is by multiplying by the reciprocal of the divisor. Okay, so you're going to have, let's say, A over B divided by C over D. Okay, so the divisor is going to be this part right here, the second fraction. Okay, that's the divisor. Okay, so basically what you do here is you get the C over D and you flip it to become D divided by C, and then you end up multiplying them. So with that being said, I gave you some steps right here to follow. Okay, so these are going to be our steps for today, which just includes one additional step, and that's part 1, to multiply by the reciprocal. The second step is still the same. We factor, we eliminate common factors, and then we simplify. So if I look at example number 1 right here, I have 18xy cubed divided by 7a squared b squared, which is now going to be divided by 12x squared y divided by 35a squared b. Okay, this one right here, guys, okay, this right here is our divisor, this whole fraction right here. Okay, this is the divisor, which means that step 1 says to multiply by the reciprocal. Well, I need to do the reciprocal of the divisor, which means that now this problem is going to get turned to a multiplication one. So I'm going to get 18xy cubed divided by 7a squared b squared, but now instead of having a division, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn that to a multiplication problem. Okay, and now what I do here is that this is going to go to the bottom and this is going to go to the top. So now I'm going to have 35a squared b divided by 12x squared y. And that is how we convert this division problem to multiplication one. So now we're going to go ahead and we're literally just going to do the same thing that we did last time, which is just trying to find all of the factors of these values. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with 18. Okay, so the numbers for 18, okay, 18 we can break it down to be 9 times 2, right? Because 9 times 2 is 18. And then we can also simplify the 9 to be 3 times 3. Okay? And then the x is just going to stay as the x. Okay? And then the y cubed is literally just going to be y times y times y. The 35, we're going to simplify it to 7 times 5 because that's 35. Can't simplify that anymore. The a squared is literally just going to be a times a. Okay, and then nothing's going to happen to the b. So that right there is going to be my numerator. And then the 7, can't simplify it anymore. The a squared, that's going to be simplified to a times a. The b squared is going to be simplified to b times b. The 12, we can simplify that to 4 times 3, and then the 4 can be simplified to 2 times 2. The x squared, we're going to replace that with x times x. Okay, and then the y is just going to stay the same. So now, this right here, or this, is going to be 3 times 3 times 2, and that's for the 18. So we're going to do 3 times 3 times 2 times x times y times y times y. And all of this right here is going to be for this numerator right there. Okay? And now I have to go ahead and I have to do the 35, which is just going to be 7 and 5. And then a times b. And that right there is going to be for the second part, which is this right here, which would be this right there. Okay. And now moving on to the denominator, which is going to be the 7, and then the a squared, which is a times a, and the b squared, which is b times b. Okay? So then that right there would be this part. And that right there would be this part. And the 7 can be simplified any further. Okay, moving on to the next one, which is going to be 2 times 2 times 3 times x times y. Okay, and that right there will be for this. Oops. Forgot to highlight the green one. Right there. Okay, and so now all I have to do is look for the common factors, which is just anything that repeats in the numerator and the denominator. So I see that I have this 2 here with this 2. I have a 3 with a 3, 7 with a 7, 2 A's. Do I see a B? I see a B. I have one X with another X, and then a Y with a Y. So whatever's left over is going to be my answer. So that means that I'm going to get a 3 times Y and times 5. And then in the denominator, I see a B times 2 times X. So that means that I'm going to get 3 times 5, which is 15. Y times Y is Y squared over 2bx. And that right there is my answer. Moving on to the second example. So now this one right here, we have binomials and trinomials. So that means that we should try to do the box method to try to simplify these problems. Now here I notice automatically that I have a y squared minus 16, meaning that that right there is going to be factored using the difference of squares. But before I do that, I do notice that I have a division problem, right? So that means that I need to go ahead and multiply by the reciprocal for the divisor, which is the second fraction right here. So that means that this whole right thing, all of this has to be the reciprocal. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it to get x squared minus 16 divided by 12y plus 36. Now instead of division, it's going to be a multiplication, and the denominator is going to become my numerator, y squared minus 3y minus 18, and my numerator is now my denominator, minus 12x plus 32. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with this numerator right here, and we're going to simplify it. So I'm going to get x squared minus 16, which means I'm going to get the square root of this and the square root of this. So the square root of x squared is going to be x, because this cancels out. The square root of 16 is going to be 4, meaning that I'm going to get x plus 4, x minus 4. Okay? So my new numerator is going to be x plus 4 times x minus 4. Okay? And that's going to be for this right here. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the other numerator, which is this one right here. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do the box method. Or you can literally just do, okay, what multiplies to negative 18 but adds to negative 3y. So I needed to multiply to a negative 18. Okay? We can do 6 times 3, because 6 times 3 is 18. But now I need this to be negative, and I need it to be added to a negative 3. So I'm going to make the negative 6, the 6 negative, and the 3 positive. Because negative 6 plus 3 is going to give me negative 3, which matches that. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do my box. Okay. So the x squared goes in the, or this is a y squared actually. So that's not going to be an x squared, a y squared. And then the negative 18, and that's y times y. And then I'm going to put a negative 6x and a positive 3y. Again, it's a y, not an x. So that means that I'm going to do y times negative 6 and then y times positive 3. So my factors for this one are going to be y plus 3, y minus 6. Okay? So now my other numerator is going to be y plus 3 times y plus 6. Make sure that you have the proper variables, because you just notice right now I try to put an x for this y, but it's actually a y, not an x. So be on the lookout for that. And now we're going to go ahead and do 12y and 36. Now for this 12y and 36, guys, I cannot do the difference of squares. And the reason why I cannot do that is because it has a plus right here. That difference of squares only works when you have a subtraction. So here I won't be able to do that, but I do see that it does have a 12 and a 36. So here we're going to be able to do greatest common factor of 12, right? And whatever you factor out goes on the outside. So I'm going to put a 12 on the outside. 12 divided by 12 is just going to be 1. So I'm going to put y. And then 36 divided by 12, okay, it's going to be 3. Okay, so then that right there would be for that one. Okay, and now we have to do the last one, the last denominator, which is this one right here. Okay, so once again, do the box method. So I'm going to go ahead and do that one here. I am limited on space, guys, because I'm trying to do this on my iPad, but you guys should be fine doing this on paper. I'm also trying to make sure that it's on the same screen so you guys can see the whole work completely. So it's a little bit of a struggle here. So we're going to have something that multiplies to 32, right? But adds to negative 12. Okay? So we can think of this as 4 times 8, because 4 times 8 is 32. Now they're both positive, but they do need to equal to a negative, so that means that this is going to be negative, because negative 4 minus 8 will equal to negative 12. So that's a negative 4x, that's a negative 8x, x times x, negative 4, negative 8. So we're going to get x minus 8 times x minus 4. Okay? That'll be my denominator over here. Okay, so now all we do is look for the common factors, so that way we can go ahead and simplify this. So I see that I have an x minus 4, y plus 3, y plus 3. And it seems to be that that's it. So I'm going to get x plus 4 times y plus 6 divided by 12 times x minus 8. Now you may ask, Miss, do I have to go ahead and FOIL this to get the final answer? No, leaving it like that is more than enough, and that right there will be your simplified answer. And that will conclude today's lesson. I'm going to go ahead and do a second video with 3 more examples. But this will be the end of this one. If you guys want to look at the second video to get more examples and more ideas on how to work this out, then definitely check it out.